More moves are coming as Brian Cashman revealed a huge update on the plans for this year's MLB trade deadline. We'll dive deeper into the mind of Brian Cashman and what he believes he will do to bring in impact players to try to build a contender for the World Series in 2025. What's going on, guys? Alex Brooks back here on Yankees Digest, giving you a daily dose of Yankees content every day of the week. And if you guys aren't subscribed, if you aren't a part of that 25% who are subscribed to these videos, I mean, get your butt off the couch right now, click that subscribe button, and comment down below to join in on the conversation. Me and Chris are working so hard to get you guys all different types of Yankee content regarding trades, regarding certain players, and we definitely appreciate the support here on the road to 8,000 subscribers. So subscribe and comment down below. We really appreciate the support. But let's get right into this video as Brian Cashman today had a press conference talking about the state of the New York Yankees and also his plans for the MLB trade deadline. And this is definitely very interesting because it is a big deadline for the New York Yankees here in 2025. You obviously have Aaron Judge, who is not getting younger. I mean, he's in his peak right now from, 2022 all the way here in 2025. He's had great seasons, and you got to take advantage of that and have a big, aggressive deadline. There's 3 holes that the Yankees need to fill: third baseman, starting pitching, and bullpen help. And just a little bit more on that was from Brian Cashman. He says, we're going to go to town. We're going to do everything we possibly can to improve ourselves and try to match up. And yeah, it's very encouraging to hear this from Brian Cashman, that he's very direct in this press conference. He's not really teetering over things and kind of just tiptoeing over things. He's being very direct in what he's saying. He's going to do everything we possibly can, and it gives Yankee fans like myself a little bit of a pick-me-up, saying, all right, when are we going to see it? And that's definitely very, interesting, very encouraging, and it's going to be interesting to see how this deadline shapes up for the New York Yankees. A little bit more on Brian Cashman's comments that he did in his press conference was, I'd certainly love to import a starter, some relievers, and an infielder as well, if possible. But that's a long list. I'm not sure if this will be a deep deadline or not. So I don't know how active we can be, but we will try to be active. I can tell you that. And we will try to import improvements. That's the gig. And yeah, Brian Cashman has never been shy to make moves. We've seen it before. The Yankees, back in the early 2000s, were getting all the free agents. They were getting all the trade targets. Everybody wanted to be a New York Yankee. Well, now that's kind of went on the wayside. It's been with the Dodgers. The Dodgers are getting all the free agents from Japan and the high-value free agents. The New York Yankees are kind of on the wayside now. They haven't had a really big deadline in a while. So definitely going to be interesting if Brian Cashman can get some guys to come in here and make an impact. And, before we talk about the impact that Brian Cashman can have on this deadline, we got to talk about someone who's had an impact negatively, and that's Anthony Volpe. I know Yankee fans, you might be a little sick about hearing Anthony Volpe and his struggles. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because Brian Cashman talked about Anthony Volpe and had a little bit of more words of encouragement for the Yankees shortstop when he said he's the starting shortstop of the New York Yankees that helped us get to a World Series last year, performed in the World Series last year. He does not lack confidence. Yes, there's struggles that have happened, and yet he's like this. Brushes his shoulder. It doesn't stick to him. Turn the page, and he's focused on tonight's game. I do have belief and optimism that he will impact us in a really positive way on both sides of the ball. He's our shortstop. I'm not counting him out. I know he's going to be a part of the solution rather than the problem. That was Brian Cashman on Anthony Volpe and his mindset. And when we look at the stats for Anthony Volpe so far throughout his career, When we talk about his 2023 season, had a little bit more in the home run department, but his average was at a 209. And then he adjusted when he had a great April, May, and June, but kind of fell off a little bit. But his average was at a respectable 243. And then now in 2025, it just seems like he's not in that right mindset right now. It's a very long funk. I mean, we've seen players go into funks before, but we've seen most of them get out of it. It seems like Anthony Volpe, he's not really getting out of it as fast as we want it. We want Anthony Volpe to get out of this funk so he can contribute to this team. I mean, we've already seen that DJ LeMahieu is now cut from this team because he couldn't make an impact defensively with his struggles, and then also offensively. So, I mean, when you're a New York Yankee, I mean, patience is going to run thin in this town, and having someone like Volpe who's at the bottom of the lineup when we know that his potential is a top of the lineup guy, a leadoff guy back in early 2024, just someone who can hit very well for the New York Yankees, and right now has just not been the case. But yeah, definitely interesting to see the support from Brian Cashman, from Anthony Volpe, and to move over from the shortstop of the New York Yankees when we talk about some other trade acquisitions that the Yankees could make at the deadline. First, I'll talk about Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller is a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's doing really well this season. He has definitely been someone who, is behind Paul Skeens, so his record isn't the greatest, but he has his best ERA season since 2020, and that was a shortened season. So he's having his best career season so far. And when we look at his stats so far this season, when we talk about how Mitch Keller, he was actually drawing interest from the Yankees. I wanted to bring this up. The Cubs, Mets, Tigers, and Yankees, and he also has 3 years of control. But when we get back to his stats so far this season, I mean, he's a right-hander. He's 3-10. So when you look at the record, you got to understand that this is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul Skeens even has a bad record, and he is one of the best young pitchers in the MLB. But when you look at his ERA, 3.58 ERA, 89 strikeouts, definitely someone who is going to be someone that has 3 years of control, as we saw in that tweet, and someone that you can put into this rotation and have him for a little bit while. So he's a 6-pitch mix guy. And he has one of the better fastball and pitching run values in the league. And what that means is how many runs a pitcher either prevented or allowed based on the outcome of each pitch. So Mitch Keller, definitely an interesting guy that I would like to see the Yankees try to pursue. I definitely feel like it's not going to be, the top prospects that they have to give up. But with the 3 years of control, it might be, I would say, like 5 to 8, the prospect ranking that they might have to give up for Mitch Keller. Might not be the top guys, but kind of in that middle range when you talk about the top 10 prospects. And then when we go to another guy here, Freddy Peralta. When we talk about Freddy Peralta so far this season, Freddy Peralta has been on a tear. He is definitely someone who I would love to see in pinstripes, because I think he could be that number 2 pitcher, even ahead of Carlos Rodon, because I feel like his consistency is a little bit better. And to compare Carlos Rodon and Freddy Peralta as the 2 and 3, I think that's a great problem that a lot of Yankee fans would sign up for. He's got a team option for 2026. He's a hard throwing righty who's had his best year so far. A little bit more on Freddy Peralta so far this season. He was named to the All-Star game. He's 10-4 with a 2.74 ERA. He's a 4-pitch mix guy who is above average in most pitching evaluations, including strikeout percentage. And he could be a number 2 or 3 starter, as I mentioned, behind Max Fried. That would shore up that 3-headed monster for this rotation, because the Yankees have been struggling with the injury bug at their starting pitching. They obviously lost Gerrit Cole, their ace, in spring training, but then you have Luis Gil, who is coming back. Clark Schmidt just went on the IL with Tommy John surgery, and Ryan Yarbrough has gone with an injury. So you definitely have to get some starter who can make an impact. I definitely think Freddy Peralta can come in here and he can make an impact. Some guy you can hand the ball in a game 2, game 3 of a series and be very confident that he can deliver a great performance. And yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Freddy Peralta could be a great guy that the Yankees can bring in for this pitching rotation? And definitely think that this could be something that the Yankees can't miss out on this deadline. And a little bit more on Brian Cashman. He had another comment regarding this trade deadline. He said, "I'm never comfortable. As the general manager of the New York Yankees, I was taught by George Steinbrenner years ago to never be comfortable." And that's big. I mean, that is so big when looking at a guy who has been criticized for not making those moves, not making the moves that the Yankees really want, especially in this era of analytics and getting guys that just fit the analytic bill when it comes to hitters and pitchers. Who do you think could just fit that guy in the analytics? I feel like with this trade deadline, just get the best players. Get the best players who can make that impact. And with a guy like Freddy Peralta, you can put him in here. Max Fried, Freddy Peralta, Carlos Rodon. As long as you have consistency, 1, 2, 3, that I feel like that's all the Yankee fans are asking for. But that's definitely very interesting when talking about starting pitching, bullpen help, and third baseman. That's going to be the top 3 needs that I think the Yankees are going to address at this deadline. But what do you guys think? Comment down below. Who do you want to see in pinstripes for this MLB trade deadline? We'll definitely have more content revolving the New York Yankees and Brian Cashman this upcoming weeks as we get closer to the trade deadline. Well, that's going to do it for another edition of Yankees Digest. My name's Alex Brooks, and I appreciate all the support you guys are giving on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. And guys, let's go Yankees.